Da-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Namaste, namaste. Good day, everyone. Happy Thursday. It's Thursday today, isn't it? Amethyst. Hi, everyone. I'm doing a join live with amazing Amethyst, and it's going to be about conscious breathing. This is what we all need, guys. Namaste, Amethyst. You have to join me also from, let me see, from Instagram, love.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, we're on YouTube, guys, and LinkedIn, I believe, but I gotta get from Instagram, love. I gotta get Amethyst here too. Is that yes? There we go. The wizard is here. Hi, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Greetings.
Greetings. Namaste.
Namaste. Hold on one second.
Okay. We are holding on.
All right, I'm back. Greetings.
Okay. Beautiful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So we are eager to hear everything about conscious breathing. This is what we all need right now. So dive in.
Right off the bat. All right, I'd just like to start by saying thank you for inviting me into this live to share space with you. Thank you everybody who's joining. I'd like to say gratitude to Great Spirit, to Mother, Father, Earth, and to our breath, and to all of you for tuning in to be in alignment with conscious breathing and happiness. I like to use the term conscious breathing because it brings in that when we become conscious of our breath, we become conscious of our experience. So I find that conscious breathing, when moved into becoming a part of a practice, it's almost, I do a lot of work also with what I call like basically rewiring the subconscious. So it's kind of similar because a lot of the times that we breathe, we end up in anxious places. We end up in spaces that we're feeling unsettled. Come back to the breath. Is your breath short? Is it deep? What's going on with the breath? And as we become conscious of that and practice that, it doesn't become something that we think about anymore. It's just something that we are consciously doing, like your heart is consciously beating. You might not be aware of it right here, but your heart is aware of it, and it's beating and it's pumping blood all over your body. Another beautiful thing about being in the conscious breath and practicing aspects of certain breath and conscious breath is your lungs detox a lot. They also produce the most DMT in your body, and they also can hyperoxygenate your blood, which will bring you into a higher vibratory state. We are electromagnetic beings, and we have an electric field that generates from our heart. So when we're honoring our heart space and our lung space by consciously breathing and bringing in oxygen, we're then giving our lungs and our heart what it needs to expand our torus field or our light body, and have a higher vibration that we are emanating and holding as these light beings.
Beautiful. Yes. Okay. Hello, Sahar. Welcome, everyone, on YouTube and also LinkedIn. So how do we do that? Do you have any sort of practice that's going to get us there faster, or how does it work?
Oh, well, there's all kinds. I mean, we could do so really, like, the easiest one you can practice every single moment of every single day. Breathe through your nose. Breathe through your nose. When we breathe through our nose, the oxygen is going through and right past our pineal gland. So we're immediately bringing oxygen and blood right here. We also have nasal cavities that are gigantic, and they are wet, warm, and moist. And our lungs appreciate wet, warm, and moist air. So when we breathe through our nose, we're also warming up and hydrating the air to come down into our lungs. So that's the first one. Start breathing through your nose. When we breathe through our mouth, it's not as healthy for us as through our nose. The next one, really easy thing is just be conscious of taking long, slow breaths through on the inhale and longer, slower breaths on the exhale. That is a hallmark of what is called parasympathetic breathing. And parasympathetic breathing relaxes the nervous system. It also will release DMT, but it's a longer, sustained release. The other type of breathing is sympathetic breathing.
Before Amethyst, before you move on, I want to know, are we deliberately holding on to our breath between the inhale and exhale or not?
Well, that's actually what I was just about to talk about next.
Oh, okay.
That's sympathetic breathing. So sympathetic breathing is meant to excite the nervous system. It involves holds and faster inhales and exhales at times. This can lead to massive, quick DMT releases. There's a few different styles of breath that you can do that will basically hyperoxygenate your body and create a lot of DMT. Some people pass out. I have passed out at times. And what my experience with it is, and other people that I work with and sit with in the space, is it's not so much that you're taking oxygen away from your brain. You're actually hyperoxygenating it, bringing a blood flow, and then that blood is releasing a massive amount of DMT. So the only time that we get those kinds of DMT releases are when we sleep, dream, and when we pass on to the other side or we enter these spaces in meditation. So we could do one of both. So we can try both a sympathetic, which will get the excited nervous system and the DMT release. And then we could also do a parasympathetic, which will lead to an extended DMT release and is more relaxing.
Okay. So we have to do this breathing while we're sitting down, or we don't want to do that while we're driving, right?
No, definitely not. The sympathetic breathing, that's the high DMT release. You want to be in a place where you're sitting, you're comfortable, and things are soft around you in case you do go down. Usually if you're sitting in a cross-legged position, you're going to go down forward, so just put a pillow in front of you. The other thing is, too, you can regulate it. You don't have to do it as extreme or as fast. You can feel your way through it. So that you definitely want to be in a controlled, relaxed, easy environment. The parasympathetic breathing, I do it when I drive in the car. Like I live kind of in the country, so when I get in the car, it takes a while to go anywhere. I look at that as an opportunity to practice my breath with parasympathetic breathing.
Okay, but we want to have a disclaimer, kids, this is not for you. He's an expert on doing this and he knows what he's doing, so don't try this while you're driving. Okay, what other technique, Amethyst?
Oh, there's a lot. I mean, so those are the two main styles of breath, but there's one that I really enjoy called tumo breathing or box breathing. This one is kind of, to me, like a blend of both because it is relaxing, but there are holds in between it. And we could do that one right now very easily if you would like to do it. Okay.
Let's do it. Let's dive in.
Let's do it. Okay, so tumo breathing or box breathing is through our nose. And the goal is to breathe in for 15 seconds, hold it for 15 seconds, exhale for 15 seconds, hold it for 15 seconds. So you're doing one breath a minute. Now, usually it takes time to work up to that. So maybe if you're just starting on your breath journey, start with 5 seconds. If you've been practicing breathing, start with 10 seconds. If you're advanced, go for the 15 seconds.
Are you ready now?
I think someone said the voice was echoing. Do you want me to stop with the restream?
Yeah. That's Sahar. Okay, let's do that, love. You can leave restream and just be here together. That would be fabulous. Okay, Sahar, we got it. He's going to leave restream and we're going to be here.
I'm working on it. Okay. All right, back to the breath. So I just like to give gratitude to this breath, sharing this space with all of you. Find yourself in a comfortable space. We're going to be breathing through our nose, and when we're breathing from our belly and our diaphragm, not our lungs. So we breathe in, starting with the belly and the diaphragm, filling up to the lungs, and as we exhale, it's coming out of the lungs and down into the belly. Sit up straight, straighten that spine, open that chest, allow your sacred fluids to flow. When you are working with your conscious breath, you're also working with what your pineal gland makes and secretes down your endocrine system, which then is moved back up your spine. That's the Kundalini flow. So when we straighten our spine, we allow those waters to flow freer. Plus, our body is meant to hang on our skeleton, not in our muscles. When we slouch or move down, our body is hanging off of the muscles. Okay, so we're going to start. Go at your own pace, 5 seconds, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. It's, that time frame in, hold for the same time frame. Exhale for that time frame and hold on the bottom for that time frame. Okay? So here we go. Breathing in. Nice, slow, quiet breaths. Hold at the top. Exhale. Quiet and slow. Hold on the bottom when you're empty. Inhaling. Hold on the inhale. Exhaling. Hold on the exhale. Inhale. Hold at the top. Exhale. Hold at the bottom. Inhale. Hold at the top. Exhale. Hold at the bottom. That's one round. And now we're going to go into straight parasympathetic breathing. So we're going to breathe in for 20 seconds, and then we're going to breathe out for 40 seconds and try and really make that exhale longer. And this will generate and release more DMT over sustained time. So here we go. 20-second breath in through the nose. "40-second exhale, or as long as you can go. Let's go one more. 20-second inhale. "40-second exhale. Ooh.
Oh my God, Amethyst, I'm high. Let me tell you. That was powerful,
Mm,
powerful.
mm.
Are you guys high or getting dizzy also, or is it just me, guys? My right side nose hole is blocked most of the time. What should you do? Sea salt, I would say. What do you think, Amethyst? It's sea salt good for
Yeah.
it's
Sea salt, neti pot, and nose breathing. Breathe through the nose. You can close one nostril, breathe in, close the other, and breathe out. And you just keep going back and forth like that. I had a deviated septum, and I had nose issues for a long time in my life. But practicing a lot of nasal breathing brought me to a place that it's really not that much of an issue anymore.
Mhm. Yeah, and this can really help with detoxing the body too, right? Like so when we do or just inhale and exhale with one nozzle. What do you think about that?
Well, I was really saying more in terms of what the person asked, but there's other breaths you could do. There's one called a serotonin breath that's meant to activate serotonin in your.
Let's do serotonin. We all need that. Amethyst.
Okay, so I learned this from a teacher of mine, and over time with my practice, it's probably changed to what he taught me, but this is what I do. So you take your two fingers and put them on your third eye. You close your left nostril, and then we're going to inhale through our right, and then we switch. We close our right nostril, and we exhale through our left. And then we go to our right, exhale to our left. Exhale to our left. Inhale on our right. Exhale on our left. Inhale on the right. Exhale on the left. Big breath in on the right. Hold and tap your third eye. And release whatever you feel called to.
Yes. I'm energized and high at the same time.
Hey, it's a
Awesome.
beautiful thing working with the breath.
So I'm trying to do, we talked about this Hoffman technique, and I'm trying to take a colder shower. But I'm just, it's quite warm here. Amethyst, I forgot, where do you live? Where are
I'm
you?
in Illinois, in the country, northwest Illinois.
And how's the weather there?
It's a little gray today, but what I really like about it in the winter is I get to go outside and do cold exposure every rising when I get up. I go out there just in my shorts. I do breath of fire for about 5 minutes, then I'll roll around in the snow. And then I come inside. And what's great is after, a cold plunge, you got to get out and dry yourself. But I just go inside and put a blanket on and move around. It feels really good.
Hmm. You know, the first time I experienced this was many years ago. I think about 30 some years ago. I was in Belgium, and I had a friend from Holland, and she told me to go. It was winter, so much snow. So we went in the sauna, and then she told me to come outside the snow. There was a cold freeze water there, and I was like, no, you got, she said, try it. And I tried it for a few minutes, and it was so funny. Afterwards, we were walking with our bathing suit in the snow, and our body felt so warm. You weren't feeling the cold anymore. I had this experience like 30 some years ago. It was amazing. Like,
That hot cold therapy is a beautiful thing. I've heard it said, if we look at Mother Earth as how to exist, she has her own cold and hot therapy. She goes through winter and summer, and she also goes through ice ages and not ice ages, and she's been around much longer than us. So I feel like we could take a cue from our mother when it comes to exposing ourselves to the elements and acknowledging that, yes, it is nice to be comfortable, but comfort doesn't lead to growth.
exactly, yes. I'm back in a mission to try all that.
This out and see. Talk, Amethyst, now. See if it's
Yes, I'm talking.
okay. I better get rid of this. All right.
So, what else? I'm going to let you, since you're an expert in this area, I'm going to let you lead on whatever else or method you want to do, or you want to talk about anything else. We're open. So,
I'd love to talk about breath and a few other things too. I don't know. So I found that the breath is one of the most important things to work with, but it's not the only thing. We are multidimensional, multifaceted beings having this experience, and now science is acknowledging quantum physics, quantum realities, that all along when you look at mandalas from the Buddhist Tankas, that it was an actual representation of what this whole experience is like. There are layers upon layers upon layers. Once we start tapping in with the breath and finding that the breath can take us to these spaces of releasing this medicine, this DMT, that it's not reliant upon external sources. And once we start to acknowledge that we are not reliant upon external sources, we start to see ourselves as sovereign beings, which is important because we are conscious co-creators with free will. And as somebody who is in their sovereignty, an external authority figure is no longer an author of your reality. You become the author of your own reality. And I find that the breath is a very powerful tool for reminding us of that. The breath is infinite abundance. We don't ever have to question it. We just keep going. It's here. You know, in this experience, it's infinite abundance, right? At some point, there is no oxygen in space, but right here, right now, I have free breath and free chi and free prana flowing into me at every single moment. Now, when we start to combine working with the breath with movement, when we start to combine it with hot and cold therapy, when we start to combine it with raising frequency through crystals, tools, and being at specific places on the ley lines on the earth grid, this is what we are all remembering as our divinity, is that all this is our birthright, and we come to it. I find that we come to it through the breath. We can be reborn in every single moment. That's what a beautiful teacher, Leonard Orr, who was the founder of Rebirthing Breathing, that was one of his philosophies, was that we can be reborn every minute with the breath. So when we come back to our breath, we're reborn, and it allows us to remember that which we really are. And this is just an avatar that we're in, but our highest self is here in this avatar, and in this avatar across all the different quantum realms. So at any moment, I saw The Alchemist the other day. She made a video. It's like every 10 seconds you can timeline shift. So you could basically, through whatever vibration you're holding at that moment, you're going to move to a different space. So I find really it's, you know, working with a lot of these things in conjunction, but that the breath is definitely the basis of it. And I've been working with scalar waves as well, if anybody's familiar with scalar waves, but that's what Nikola Tesla...
Can you open that up a little bit, because I'm sure a lot of us are not familiar with it. Thank you, Lot.
My pleasure. I'm happy to share. So scalar waves, and here I'm going to make a disclaimer. I'm not an expert in anything. I'm just an interested party that loves to study and practice. And this is all filtered through my experience, and I'm grateful to the teachers who came before me that are very, it's built, what is the saying? Standing on the shoulders of giants. I'm grateful for all the work that all the elders and ancestors have done and all the teachers. So scalar waves are best known by Nikola Tesla. He was all about them. This is how he said he generated free energy on Earth. A scalar wave is a standing wave. It's called a transverse wave. From my understanding, it moves like a spiral, so there is no up and down like a longitudinal wave, which is what most frequencies are, most radio waves. So there's a peak and a trough. There's no peak or trough. It just spirals up and it holds this space. Now, scalar waves are how our DNA communicate with each other. So when we start playing specific frequencies through scalar waves, we are then telling our DNA to restructure according to this frequency. So I've seen DNA repair personally in breath sessions I've had sitting in scalar waves. Scalar wave is also, you could call it a technology, but it's a living technology. It is how the universe communicates with each other in this way. When you get really deep with it, you can start working with it with specific geometries that work with geometry of light, geometry of matter to bring the two together to make it truly multidimensional. Also, scalar waves, you could see frequency that it's already being used, but we just aren't the ones using it. So as we use it and use it with good intention and practice, nothing is inherently good or bad. It's all about the energy and intention you put into it. So if we're putting good energy and intention in these scalar waves, we're putting good energy and intention into this hologram in a multidimensional way that creates quantum ripples.
Beautiful. Yeah. I just did a short reel today and I said, you know what I think is wrong? The way we view law of attraction is that we still think that we have to create something. We're not aware that everything is already created and is right here, is this separation from me. So the same thing with this, if you can picture that how this waves is moving and you just merge with it and become it, as you were saying it, I was already feeling it, experiencing in my body, and it just, that swirling feels so good. It's just like, you know, like Kundalini energy that is just moving and you're just feeling good and in the moment. And yeah, okay, beautiful. Are you guys feeling it? Can you speak more on how a source product? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, that goes back to that's how our DNA communicates with each other through scalar waves. So if you look at what DNA is an encoded blueprint on how you manifest here in physical form, and it's carried through your lineage and it's carried through the entire human experience. So the DNA is technically in my perspective, a code for how this physical form manifests. But it's not limited to the physical form. The energy of source, of creation, of highest self has to come in and manifest it. That's why I was talking about working with the different geometries for putting it on the scalar generator, so it's both, so it's multidimensional and not just one or the other, because at this point source energy is now communicating and speaking and activating through these scalar waves that are our physical vessel. We are divine. There's a reason that it says, you know, ye are gods, you're made in the likeness of God. We are divine beings. We're just remembering it. And in many ways, there's a lot of things in place to keep us separate from remembering what our divine birthright is and what it means to be a sovereign being, a co-creator with free will. And we start tapping back in with what our body does naturally. That's when we remember that there's no requirement from anything externally.
Yes.
These tools that we're working with are just here to remind us that we are already and have everything that we need in every moment.
Absolutely, yes. Someone asked, are you Persian? I don't know if you meant me. I'm Persian, but Amethyst is not Persian. What are you, Amethyst?
That's a good question. I'm a wizard, first and foremost. I'm a fractal of creator. In this physical form, I have a mixed heritage, mostly European. Yeah, but right now, I don't really identify with a nation or a nationality in that way. Like I'm more of I'm here on Earth. I'm an Earthling.
Yeah. You know, Amethyst, this wizard, it's so funny because I'm very in tune. You know, I have this shamanistic field in, and I feel that I often connect very deeply with lizards
Mm.
And somehow the wizard and lizards are, for me, is in combinations, because when I'm sitting outside, sometimes I'm doing a sessions or something, and the lizards are coming because I live in LA, you know, it's warm and I live in nature and all that. They're so funny the way they just, we could sit for hours and they're just stares right into my eyes, and they just, if you allow it, they just take you so deep in, you know. And it's like I can go places with them underground. The first time that I felt life underground was with lizards. The
Mm.
minute I connect, like their eyes are so hypnotic, you know, those big, huge eyes, and it just pulls you in. And it was amazing, that experience that they showed me, the life underground. And it's just, you're seeing all these things. And I felt like Alice in the Wonderland, you know. I'm like, really, life here and all this thing is just so mystic. So yeah, that's why I like the, why are you wizard? Where did that come from?
That is a good question. Initially, it started as a joke from this band that I played was working with a few years ago, but then I really just started to be present with it. And to me, a wizard is somebody who's wise. There's a book out, I think it's called like the 10,000 hour rule. It's like if you spend 10,000 hours working on something, then you will have mastered that craft. So for me, a wizard is anybody who's spent time to master something and become wise in that craft with wisdom. Wizard, the reason the name is Wizard Tribe is because a wizard to me is somebody who just acknowledges that every moment is magic, that magic exists, and that it's not something that's just a story or a tale somewhere, but that every moment is magic, that we breathe without even thinking about it and breathe in life force in every single moment of this experience. So that's kind of where the wizard came from, and just to kind of as a reflection to reflect with others that, like, yes, you too can remember your magic, and you too can embody what it means to be your authentic self.
Mm-hmm. I remember 7, 8 years ago, I went to Peru, and I went in the Amazon, had a ayahuasca journey with the shamans. And there was this, I was going again with lizards, and it was this really complicated structures that lizards were moving and doing all this stuff. And I was trying to figure it out. I didn't really get it, what it meant, but it was the land of the lizards. And it was very complicated, and structures, and all these lizards were going up and down and moving. So I was in my journey, and I couldn't figure out, like, what is all this thing about? Yeah. So me and lizard. I pinned someone's how we can connect with our inner self.
Mm.
Do you want to hit on it, or do you
Yeah.
want? Mm.
First, I'd like to just say with the lizards, like what I find in my experience, whenever I start to see an animal guide, I pay attention to how they exist, what they are, what they do, what is their animal medicine. Lizards are in the sun. They like to soak up the sun. They can move very quickly. They can camouflage. So yeah, I like to just pay attention. I had an experience this summer where there's a pond where I live, and there were a lot of frogs and toads, and I would just go sit out there and breathe. And they're basically still all day long unless a fly comes close to them. And sometimes they go for it, and other times they don't. But when they do, they go for it, and most of the times they get it. So the medicine I took from that was be present, be patient, and you will know the exact right time to move on it. And I feel like that's a good segue into how we connect with our inner selves. Sit in silence and observe yourself. Sit in silence and observe what thoughts come up. When those thoughts come up, how do they make you feel? Do they make you feel good or not good? If they are they permanent? No, they're all impermanent. So it will pass too. So be present with that, but don't get tied into it. Then when you start hearing things that your inner wiring might be speaking negatively about yourself, which a lot of us, you know, unfortunately, this culture that we're all part of on earth, there's a lot of that internal programming that gets passed down through the lineage and from mainstream media. So when these things come up, in my experience, what I've found and others that I've worked with is that there's a part of yourself still stuck in some kind of trauma or karma, and it is choosing to loop into that same pattern. So what I do is I make a safe space for that inner part of myself, inner child, inner adult, inner next level dimension, other part of my fractal, and I create that safe space. And when I find these moments where maybe something is looping and traumatic, or I'm just in a space of joy and I want to connect with my inner self, create that safe space, visualize it, see what it looks like, breathe into it, and allow whatever is coming to come through. Don't try and control it. Just say, I acknowledge I'm feeling that, I release it. And to me, that is the way that I find is through silence, stillness, breath, visualizing good things,
Mm-hmm.
and telling all the parts of myself that they are safe and welcome and loved as long as they are in alignment with my highest self.
Yes, beautifully said. To me, I would say the only thing is just stop doing and just be. It's like we often hear a lot of things like we are spiritual beings trying to have, a human experience, but we don't really grasp it. We don't really get it. But if we can really trust to the divine and just because people cannot trust, they say, oh, I believe in universe, I trust in God, I trust in a higher power, but we really don't, because if we did and we were really authentic with ourselves, we could have trust just doing nothing and experiencing being. But oftentimes people are like, well, if I just be, how does my rent is gonna come about? How am I gonna pay my bills and that stuff? This is exactly the opposite of, trusting in divinity. So you don't have to put the whole outer world on hold forever, but you can kind of balance it out with this time, maybe half an hour or an hour. Just stop everything and just be, and just like you teach us, just work on the breath and don't let anything else come. Trust in that moment. Because I did a few ayahuasca journeys with different shamans in the Peru and here in LA. And that feeling of it tastes so horrible, and you just want to purge and all that. And the only thing that gets me through is when I heard, what if you surrender to the medicine? And the minute I heard that and I said, I surrender, it's just that all the nausea and all the purging is just stopping. You just go beyond the physical body. So the big question is, do we really trust enough to surrender or not?
Wow. Yeah, absolutely. And what that requires, that trust, is letting go of all conception of self-controlling anything. And that to me is the root of it, because we are taught that we are the masters of our destiny, right? Like we're taught that we can go out and do this and do that. And yes, that's all there. But, we are just a piece of the whole thing. This is not all of it. We are a fractal of creator, of source, of energy, and that's the whole thing. So when we're tapped into that, anything is possible, everything is possible. When we're just in this space trying to define what we want our life to look like, that is oftentimes when the fear gets a hold and you're afraid to surrender, because if you let it go, it's all going to disappear. But that's not really how it goes. Whatever isn't serving you is going to disappear. And whatever you're looping into that's continuing to bring you back to that space of things, of attracting things that are not serving you, that's going to go too. Oftentimes that's painful. That's the law of transmutation. That's like a caterpillar has to go into the cocoon to become a butterfly. You go back into the feminine, into the womb, you get squeezed, you get crushed and pressed. You go through the birthing process, which is tight. You don't know what's happening. You come out the other side, and all of a sudden you could fly, or you're a brand new baby in the world. So when we surrender, we go back to that innocence.
Exactly. I was supposed to do a join live yesterday, and they have planned this about a month ago. And at the very last minute, she sent a message, I'm sorry, I'm in a different town. I cannot make it. Like just 1 minute before the actual live, right? So they told me that. And I said, it's okay, relax. I'm just going to do a live on my own. So that's what I was telling everybody. I said, look, if we can learn to trust and believe that everything is here to serve us, this is my mantra. Whatever comes towards me, I said, it's here to serve me. So whether it's situations, whether somebody is dropping off to do a join live in the last minute or something else, or you find out yet your boyfriend or your girlfriend or whoever is cheating you, just use this mantra. This is here to serve me. Everyone is here to serve me. Everything is here to serve me. Because we don't know the big picture, right? You don't know why all of a sudden right now you find out that your lover is cheating you. You don't know the big picture. But if you say everything, and even this, it might be hurtful at the moment, but it's here to serve me. I don't know how it's going to serve me, but I'm sure there is a bigger plan. There's a divine plan. So I just go with it. And how much easier our lives will be if we just, take every second, this moment, to be fully present, this moment, and then the next moment, and don't clinch to things and hold on, because oftentimes I see people are so heavy because they're holding everything from their childhood till now. The traumas, I'm not saying just to say, no, it never happened. The abuse, the sexual abuse, or this or that. We all go through so much through our lives, right? But because people can't experience whatever trauma or wound they have experienced and just let it go, they keep carrying it on. And then it adds up. And the older we get, the heavier and heavier we'll become. And then we are wondering how come we can manifest, because you're so heavy. Drop the weight and let go of the past. And we often practice this, Amethyst. I said, what if you believe that your character is being built at every second? You're just born now. You're just born now without any past. You're just born now. How much easier and lighter would it be?
Well, that is the basis of rebirthing breathing right there. And that's one of my favorite breath practices is Leonard Orr. In every moment, you can be reborn. This man, the breathing that he does is mostly parasympathetic, so it's relaxed. He was all about returning to the womb space. So he would breathe in the bath with a snorkel out of it in a saltwater bath, moving in it and breathing. So yeah, I find everything that you're saying is extremely resonant. And what goes along with that too is there's a book by James Redfield called, I think, The Secret of Shambhala. And in it, there's a mantra that's stuck with me ever since. It's, I breathe in the beauty, I breathe out the love, and I manifest and visualize without attachment. Because what is an attachment? An attachment is an expectation that our human form places on how the divine plan looks. But that's not how it manifests. The divine plan manifests in a way of divinity. But when we look at it or try and limit it from our human perspective, we do not align with divinity. And this is oftentimes when we loop into our trauma, or we get stuck, or we become heavy and we don't feel like we're going anywhere. So then we start making decisions that lead us into even more heaviness and lower vibration. But what it really comes down to is that trust that, hey, if this moment feels really crappy, I'm going to breathe in and find something beautiful about it, and I'm going to breathe out and find something I love about it, and I'm going to be grateful for this experience. And I'm also not going to be attached that this experience is happening now or what my experience looks like in 1 minute. I'm going to hold this space of love and gratitude, and as I do that, I'm going to attract love and gratitude. It might not be right now, but it will be another now moment.
Yeah, Amethyst, if we really understand that everything we think and everything we feel, and that creates a vibration that's sending out and it affects everything, we will become more responsible for our thoughts and our feelings. And I think as humans, we're not responsible enough to know that if I'm feeling miserable, dissatisfied, and angry, and we feeling hate or whatever, this is what we're sending out. So we have to be more responsible to whatever I'm thinking is affecting. That's why every moment I'm so aware of the thoughts, the thinking machine, the best thought, and I'm having the best thought, the loving thought. I don't allow anything to come in my space that is not representing love. Everything that I think is love. And whenever something comes to my attention that, oh, so and so did this or that, I'm just deleting it right there, and I keep saying, I choose to love. I choose to be in a space of love and gratitude. Just start learning to delete, and just choose to be happy and choose to come from a place of love. And that's how we take responsibility for what we're sending out.
Absolutely, and I'm so glad you brought up the vibratory state as well too, because as beings of vibration, as we remember our divinity, we see that our thoughts manifest quickly. The prayers start to come true faster and faster. And anything that you think negatively about comes true faster and faster. So we do have a responsibility to be conscious and present and aware of our thoughts, and also to retrain whatever is going on in our subconscious, which is 90% of our waking thoughts. So when we start to acknowledge those traumas, that karma that has looped us away from being on our dharma or our path, and we are ready to trust and surrender and feel it all, that's when we start to enter into that space of sovereignty, of taking responsibility for our thoughts. And like you said, you could catch it like that. And then you see that that is a thought form. It's a form, it's a shape. You can reshape it, you can mold it, you can change it, you could transmute it into a higher thought, but not if you allow that thought form to take your thoughts and move them downwards. You actually have to speak that into reality, pray that into reality, think that into reality.
Absolutely, yes. So before we end this live, Amethyst, what else would you like to talk about or do, or what do you?
Well, there's a few things. So I love that you're all about happiness, because happiness is a beautiful thing. And it had me really thinking, like, what is happiness to me? I know what happiness feels like when it shows up and I don't have to do anything for it. And I also know what unhappiness is like when I'm not feeling good about myself, or feeling good about what's happening, or I'm in one of those loops, right? So what I came to for it was, happiness is just being present and grateful, and acknowledging that things are going to shift, and they're going to shift one way or the other. There's a great story I heard Ram Dass tell a number of times, and it's the story of the farmer, and the farmer has a son. The neighbor comes over, he goes, "Oh my gosh, did you hear there's a war?" And the farmer goes, "Ah, so." Then the next day the neighbor comes over and he says, "Where's your son?" And the farmer says, "Oh, he went to war." And then the neighbor comes over the next day, "The son is back. He broke his leg." oh, that's terrible. I can't believe that happened. The farmer says, ah, so. Well, then basically the kid heals up and a horse shows up and it's an amazing horse, but the horse basically doesn't last. So there's a series of things that go up and down, and the whole time the farmer just says, ah, so, because he knows it's going to go up, it's going to come down. So where is the happiness? It's just being here and allowing it all to flow up and down. So yeah, I love happiness. And one thing that makes me super, super happy is working with the earth grid and ley lines through meditations with others and plotting. So I spent all rising working. We're working on releasing a course for ley lines right now. So I love being here on earth. I love being present here on earth. And I love working with the earth and beautiful people like Sudi and all of you, and seeing everybody on their path of healing and remembering their divinity. If anybody's interested in learning more about scalar waves or ley lines or earth grids, I am offering free 15-minute discovery calls to tap in with everybody. I've been doing it with everybody who's been supporting me over the last few years, because I know a bunch of you, but I don't know all of you, and I'd like to talk to you all and see how we're all working together to anchor in this highest vibration.
Yes, so everyone, don't forget to follow Amethyst. Follow him up, check him up, and also we went live on YouTube and LinkedIn. What's your YouTube channel, Amethyst?
Oh, I don't know. I have one, but I use this mostly, so I think it's just Wizard Tribe 333, but I'm not sure.
Okay, because just in case if you want to use the YouTube, they can just send it or upload it on your YouTube channel, or if you're on Facebook and LinkedIn, we can do that for you too. So it was great having you here, Amethyst. You're so lovely, and thank you so much for the teaching. And everyone, please don't forget to follow Amethyst, and hopefully in the future we would do more Joan Live together.
Thank you, Sudi. I appreciate you. Thank you, everybody tapping in. Everybody who's here supporting me, please give this wonderful soul a follow and continue to support all the tribe as we grow together.
Lovely. Thank you, love. Have a beautiful day, Amethyst.
Thank
Much
you,
love.
Sudi.
Bye
Peace and
bye.
blessings. Bye.
Okay, everyone. Hope you love this live. By the way, if you guys haven't followed me or you haven't followed Amethyst, please do so. Also, if you haven't subscribed on my YouTube channel, please do that too. My YouTube channel is Sudi Burnett, and as you know, my name is Sudi. Thank you, Sami, for following up. Sudi Burnett English. Sudi is S-U-D-I, Burnett B-U-R-N-E-T-T, English, and you can receive a gift. I got a couple of CDs in English. There is a meditation. There is also self-healing, how to heal yourself and others. Prosperity CD, and what else? Weight loss, weight balance, actually. So if you haven't subscribed on my YouTube channel, please do so, and let Sahar know which CD would you like to get as a gift. Love and peace. Thank you so much. Till next day. Bye-bye, everyone. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.